Hi, I'm Kerry from eSpares, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use a multimeter to test whether or not your dishwasher temperature sensor is working properly. The symptom of a faulty temperature sensor is if the water is getting too hot in your appliance. However, before replacing the part, it's a good idea to test it first, just to make sure that the problem doesn't lie somewhere else in your appliance. This is where the multimeter comes in. Now, before we begin, it is important to note that the process might differ slightly depending on different makes and models. However, the steps should generally be similar. Before starting, it's helpful to understand what multimeters actually are. Multimeters are handy tools that can be used to measure the electrical resistance in a circuit. In simple terms, this means that they can be used to test electrical parts and components to determine whether or not they are working properly. If you don't own a multimeter, you can buy one from our website through a link in the description below. To test your dishwasher's temperature sensor and replace it if needed, you will need a Phillips screwdriver and of course a multimeter. You may also need a new sensor, so we'll include a link to where you can buy a new temperature sensor for your dishwasher in the description. And remember, safety first. Always make sure you switch off your appliance and unplug it from the mains before carrying out any work. If you need to remove the water supply hose from your machine for this repair, then make sure you turn off your mains water supply first. And always have a towel handy for any spillages. You'll need to carefully position your dishwasher on its back like so. Next, you'll need to remove the bottom panel. To do this, first unscrew the 2 feet. Now use your Phillips screwdriver to unscrew the 6 screws that hold the bottom panel in place. With the feet and screws now removed, you can lift the bottom panel away and place it safely to one side. Now it's time to test the temperature sensor. First, make sure your multimeter is switched on and turn to the 20 kiloohms setting. To test the sensor, separate the 2 wires. Then you're going to put the probes onto the metal strips at the end of each wire. Then, if the sensor is working properly, the multimeter should provide a reading of some kind. There's no particular reading the multimeter should show, as long as it shows something. If the multimeter doesn't show anything, like this one is doing, it means the sensor is faulty and needs to be replaced. Once you've checked and potentially replaced your sensor, you can go ahead and reassemble your dishwasher. Now it's time to replace the bottom panel that you removed earlier. Now it's time to refit the screws that you removed earlier. Finally, it's time to refit the feet at the bottom of the machine. And there you have it, how to use a multimeter to test your dishwasher's temperature sensor. Now that your dishwasher is back in working order, it's a good idea to make sure that you're using it as safely as possible. Check out our video on important safety checks for your dishwasher to learn more. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for appliance repairs, maintenance guides and all things eSpares. Thanks for watching.